Hi, I'm Nate the Bias User, and today I'm going to be reviewing this new Death Dynamic Shroud album, After Angel. In an even shorter amount of time, glitch pop and vaporwave act Death Dynamic Shroud is back with this record with a more closer to average length than their previous, which explains why they were able to release it earlier than usual, and the instrumentation isn't as dense this time around, which I guess might disappoint some and even me during first listen, but it's still very explorable with well put together finished production, and inspiration, with the synth and bell build-up at the beginning of the intro, Phantom U in 4 parts, that leads to a small peaceful section of bell sounding keys that sounds like something off a video game soundtrack, until vocals appear, which didn't hurt the track. They were really catchy when at its most noticeable, because the track doesn't stay in its collection of vocal chops. Towards the end we get a return of synths that opened up the track, but this time with some singing working with it, and then getting another build-up that feels more like going through a wormhole, when getting the guitars, smacking scattered drums, and a loud bass, leading us to the follow-up CD Player 5, giving out some slow, spacey R&B and city pop influence, from the horns to psychedelic synth work. And the digital aspects also gave me the video game OST vibe. It's like a slower version of Studiopolis Zone from Sonic Mania. I love it so much, but not much for Sorry Part 2. I guess the bass direction was nice, but the overall smoothness for the whole thing was okay at best, and further on we get a run of tracks where I'm going back and forth from liking one song and being on the fence with the other. I like the follow-up It's Only Pain with its scratching bass and plugged in bass drum play surrounding it, and it gets even better when sparkling spiritual keys get passionate and beautiful in the mix and helps progress this thing. But right after, there's Wish House, where I was liking the bassy tapping on the percussion glitching out everything that interacts with it, but I was tired of the foggy piano repetition right at the start, and it never grew on me. But then there's You Are Burning Me Up Like This, while Soft as Hell is easily made up for by the very fast passage of foggy synths. It didn't hit, but my god was it intense. Which brings us to You Don't Care, a track that didn't not hit, but when it comes to sound and structure, this thing is just a redo of what they've already done before. We have all the 80s synth pump influences and all the vocal samples put exactly where I would expect, but I guess it's still a decent track, even if it's nothing to take away. And I'm happy to say the back and forth ends here. Rose Confession is a lovably bright, meditative 4 minutes. We get some high-pitched vocal glitches skipping around on Blast Jammer, and so much more like the soulful, bassy synths at the midsection. Kill the Duke brings in a heavy trip-hop feel, with the bass drum smacking with a raw-sounding vocal sample. And with the closer Dark channel, it's 5 minutes long, and has pretty much the same vocal samples throughout, but its surroundings are always changing, and that keeps things interesting. Not that the samples weren't already great, but with this record, After Angel overall is another good installment to Death Dynamic Shroud's growing catalog. And while it might not be as strong as the two before, you kind of get what you paid for when not waiting all that long for a new project. Like, it still feels like Dark Life just came out, and I don't see any lack of potential of making a record just as good or better than that one. I'm gonna give this album a 7.4. Like, subscribe, comment how you feel, or give a suggestion. Check out my other social medias, ring that bell, and I'll see you next time.